I'm going to try to make myself into a action figure. I've seen a bunch of things on like Facebook and social media in general, but mostly Facebook, where people are making themselves into action figures using AI, and quite frankly, they look terrible. But it did get me thinking about how growing up, I've always thought if I were an action figure, this would be my accessory. For instance, back when the 3DS and the Nintendo DS and Game Boys and all that were super popular, I would think, man, if I were an action figure, this Nintendo 3DS would be my accessory because I'd always have it in my pocket. And so I was kind of thinking about that recently, seeing all of these AI action figures of people. And then my buddy Travis from Creative Jargon, he made himself into an action figure, and it looked so good, and it was so much better than any of the AI things that I've been seeing recently. And I thought to myself, why have I just not done this? So yeah, I just, I made myself into an action figure, as I said at the top of the episode. Am I repeating myself too much? I feel like I am. Oh, by the way, I know the background's different. I just moved. I don't have like a full studio carved out in my new house yet. I'm still trying to figure out where I'm going to put that and everything. There's no decorations or anything up right now, so this might look different than the last video, which might look different than the next video, and I'll eventually get something figured out. Alright, well, without further ado, let's just see how this action figure process goes, eh? So, first things first is I had to make the packaging, just get a rough idea there, and then I had to sketch out my basic action figure skeleton. So, like, kind of what I would look like naked if I were an action figure. I'm not anatomically correct, don't worry, YouTube. But then I started playing around with different outfits and everything. I was trying to figure out what would look good as an action figure. I was going to go with a t-shirt originally, but I like wearing flannels with rolled up sleeves, and I kind of like drawing my characters with that, or a hoodie or something, but I didn't know how a rolled up sleeves would look on action figures. So believe it or not, I actually used the Minecraft Jack Black action figure because he rolls up his sleeves on that as a reference, as well as this Ben Affleck Bruce Wayne action figure. So that proved to me that it was possible. Action figures can have rolled up sleeves. I debated whether or not to include the hat, but you know what? The hat is a removable option. If you want a bald Austin, you can have a bald Austin, but I am usually wearing a hat, so you can keep that as an option as well. As far as the accessories go, I had to have my sketchbook with a Sharpie for my 30-second drawings. I thought about using my drawing tablet that I use all my digital drawings with, but people don't usually see me drawing on that. If you've seen videos of me drawing, like actually me drawing, not just a time lapse like how you're watching now, it's usually on a sketchbook and I'm doing a 30-second drawing. So frantically trying to draw a Pokemon before the 30-second timer runs out. Usually in a panic, but sometimes they work out okay. Next, I knew I was going to do this from the start. I had to include my cat, Malcolm. He's been my buddy since I moved out of my parents' house. I moved into this apartment where animals were not allowed, and for the first few months of living there, it was incredibly lonely. And I'm so used to having animals in the house. I've grown up with dogs, cats, all kinds of different things. So I really wanted one. And though I've always been a dog person more than anything, cats are a lot easier to hide. So my aunt, she had a bunch of cats at the time, and I got to go pick one out, and there was some really cute little kittens and everything there, and I thought about them, but then she was like, I think you'll like this one a lot. And then she shows me Malcolm. And he's a little bit older than the other cats. He was maybe about 6 to 9 months old, as opposed to just like a cute little kitty. I was like, oh, he's cute. And then I picked him up and he hugged me around the neck, and I was sold. He was mine ever since. I didn't even name him. In fact, he had originally belonged to a little girl, and I think she ended up finding out that she was allergic to cats, but she had named him Malcolm, and I figured in honor of her, I will keep his name. Plus, he's got like a little M on his head, so that kind of, M for Malcolm. Anyway, he sits in this beautiful pose all the time, so I had to draw him like that because it's so iconic to me. Next is the Nintendo Switch. I kind of wanted to put a 3DS there instead because, again, that's what would always be in my pocket. I don't really walk around with a Nintendo Switch in my pocket, but I don't really play the 3DS as much as I used to. The Pokemon games I have been playing recently are on the Switch, plus on the Switch you can play a lot of the older games, so it just seemed like the best option. I didn't want to use like a smartphone because that's lame, so I ended up going with the Nintendo Switch. For my next accessory, I felt like I had to add this melodica. For Christmas this past year, my wife had gotten me one of these little keyboards that you blow air into, and when you press the key while you're blowing the air into it, it makes a noise. It's called a melodica. We saw it on a video once and realized they were only like $25. A couple bands I like, I've seen videos of them with that as an instrument in the background, and I was like, I would try to learn how to play that, and by golly, I've been trying to learn how to play it. So I'm not very good at it yet, but I do like practicing on it, so melodica made the cut. And finally, I debated adding this because Travis had included one in his action figure set, but a skateboard. I love skateboarding. I'm not very good at it. I hate this. I hate it. I hate it. But it is very fun, and it's kind of become a main hobby I like to do. Usually if I have breaks at work, there's a skate park right down the road. I'll go there. Anytime we go out of town, we're always looking for skate parks. It's something I like to do with my family, and it's kind of become a little part of the channel in some way, shape, or form. Plus, me and Travis like to do art and skate together, so I had to include it. I felt comfortable including it. I feel like I got the creative jargon approval for that. But with that being said, it just came down to coloring everything, shading it to where it looked like plastic, and then came the hardest part of the whole process, if I'm being honest. To make all of these little figures look like they were encased in plastic. So I had to do this in multiple layers. It was very tricky. I had to do the plastic on the very back, the plastic holding it, and then the plastic mold keeping everything in place. A lot of it was, again, layers at different opacities, messing with the lighting and the shadows. I think I ended up making it look okay. It could be worse, it could be better. But I think it's passable. And finally, I just got to do the fun part of the packaging, which is just designing what the background would look like. I gave it my classic lemon squid collars, which I feel like are typically yellow, green with like a blue background. Added some tentacles. I added my signature up there at the top to be like, which lemon squid toy is this? Oh, it's Austin Short. That's me. I did the little choking hazard thing, so if you're under 3, you might not be able to play with this. But yeah, that's my action figure. I think it turned out okay. What did you think? But more importantly, is it better than AI? Now, I don't endorse using AI to make art, especially if you're doing it commercially. It's a little tricky because I feel like if you're just using it for fun, it's like there's no harm in it. At least I didn't think so until I heard about the whole environmental impact of it all. But I want to justify it this one time to test and compare human art versus AI art. So I'm going to have AI make an action figure of me, and we're going to compare it to what I made. Human, flesh and blood, and other things. Anyway, let's try to upload this image. I have this picture of me doing stand-up I'm going to try to use. There we go. That'll work. I don't know how long this usually takes. Okay, something's happening. That's pretty funny. Why do I look like that? Why am I a giant hippie? I don't play guitar. I don't know where it got that. I mean, I guess I do like the Beatles, but I guess everyone kind of likes the Beatles to some extent. The giant joint, I guess if you rewind a couple years, that's kind of accurate, but I am very much sober lately. I'm bald. I don't have long hair. I guess it did get the fact that I have red hair correctly. But again, no hair at the moment. I don't know where it's getting any of this information. This has to be just like randomly generated with my name thrown on top or something. I have no idea what is up with this. I want to say mine's better. What do you guys think? But regardless, this has been me making myself into an action figure. If you're an artist out there, I highly encourage you to make your own self into an action figure. And if you're not particularly an artist, do it anyway. Don't use ChatGPT or any other type of AI. I mean, just practice your own skills and have fun with it. Make it yourself. Pick all your different accessories out. And, if it looks a little goofy, that's awesome. That's part of its character, really. And, gives you a chance to hone your own skills. I'm not going to get into a big debate about AI and all this and that. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a good rest of your day. And I guess I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.